can you tell me something about Buddhism? And Prabhupada said, are you a Buddhist? And the man said, no. Are you following Buddhists? No. So why don't you do something? Follow Buddha, and then you can come back and ask a question about him. Otherwise, why waste our time talking about something like Buddhism if you're not actually doing anything in relation to Buddha? Unless there is submission, one has to be able to pass the test to the spiritual master. And when he sees the genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. So this is what the subject matter, the title of the class is, that pass the test of the spiritual master. So what's the whole Bhagavatam is about? Devotees passing tests. Most of them are way beyond any test that we're going to be faced with. But they passed the test. And therefore Krishna generally gave them genuine spiritual understanding. Now most of them had a direct relationship with Krishna. For instance, we have Draupadi. Draupadi was being forced into an assembly of Kauravas. Kunti prays like that. Vishan Mahagne, Purushada Darshanad, Asat Asabaya, Vanavana Krichita. So one of the problems that the Pandavas faced, the first one was Vishan Mahagne. Vishan means Bhima was fed poison. Now, how many times did we go to someone's house and they fed us poison? It would be quite a disappointment. But Bhima was actually fed poison because the Kauravas wanted to kill him. It wasn't just bad prasadam, leftover prasadam. It was actually kalakuta poison. If you take one drop of that, then you're in the next world. But he was made a cake made out of kalakuta poison, and he was about to eat it, but he wanted to share it with the Kauravas. Please come and share, I'll give you a piece. No, you look hungry. It's all right. You eat and enjoy. So he ate the cake and felt a little tired, because Bhima was quite strong. And he said, I feel a little sleepy. Well, that's natural after you eat to feel sleepy. Why don't you lie on your left side for a while? So he put himself on his left side, and they picked him up and threw him into a lake full of poisonous snakes to finish him off. And all the snakes, they bit him and countered the kalakuta poison, and he woke up and killed the snakes. And then the agents of Varuna came and took Bhima into the bottom of the ocean, where Varuna gave him elixirs which made him stronger than 10,000 elephants. So that's bad enough. But then Vishan Mahagne, then they were put into a house made out of flammable material and set on fire to burn them to death. Luckily they escaped into the forest, and there to greet them for supper, invite them to supper, was a Rakshasa. Unfortunately, they were on the menu. So Bhima fought against the Rakshasa, Hindimba, and killed him, and the Rakshasa's sister, Hindimbi, married Bhima. And then Asabaya. Asat means a vicious assembly of people. In other words, they, after losing in the gambling match, the Pandavas also lost their wife. And then Duryodhana had Dushasan drag Draupadi into the assembly and try to strip her naked in front of all the elderly members of the Kuru dynasty. So nowadays it would be considered, well, not such a bad thing. But then it was considered horrible. And Draupadi, she was holding her sari, and she wouldn't let it go. Although Dushasan was a big Kshatriya, so powerful, and he was dragging his sari, and she was holding on to it, and putting up one hand, hey, Govinda, help. And still Govinda didn't come. So then she realized, well, either I half surrender or I fully surrender and see what happens. So she put up both hands and said, "Hey Govinda." And then Krishna came and said, "Sorry." And Dusa-san was pulling on her sorry. It was an unending sorry. And finally he got tired and gave up. So the idea is we can half surrender. Hey, Krishna, help, but I got my backup. Krishna doesn't come. I have 9/11 to call. I have my brother. I have this and that. I have so many backups. Krishna, if you don't make it, don't worry. I'm okay. And Krishna won't come. He'll wait till we use up all our backups and finally, hey Govinda, I give up. It's you or nothing. Just like at the time of death, we have so many backups. And the last one is Krishna. Then it might be not such a good idea. Just like one devotee was telling her mother at the time of her mother's death, chant, chant, chant. Chant Hare Krishna. And her mother said at the time of death, I cannot say so many words. And then she left her body. Or as one man was telling his wife, chant, chant, chant. And his wife was saying, can't. So if we don't really think Krishna is our shelter, we think we have so many other shelters, then we'll take them up. That's the material existence. The Tevidu Swartakatim Hi Vishnu. They don't really believe Krishna is a shelter. The Tevidu Swartakatim Hi Vishnu. Darasha, there's so many other shelters to take shelter of. And where are they coming from? Yatha yathandero pigema nanas te pisha tantra urudami vara. There's so many people offering shelter. So even if a devotee is claiming I have some other shelter other than Krishna, then they're not a very good shelter. They're not offering some shelter, ultimately. One time I was in engagement with Srila Prabhupada at the State University of New York in Buffalo. And at the end of the class, some person walked up to Srila Prabhupada and said, Swamiji at that time, Swamiji, I have so many problems, what can you do for me? And he said, all I have is a Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, please take it. So people think, well, this is too simplistic, just chant a mantra, what is this? Give me something practical. A tip on how to win the horse race or something practical. So, Prabhupada said one has to pass the test of the spiritual master. So the whole Bhagavatam is just full of tests. Dhruva Maharaj went into the forest and his spiritual master, he met Narada Muni there, and Narada Muni said, if you want to meet Krishna, then you have to build a deity out of mud of the deity, and you have to bathe in the Jamuna 3 times a day, and you have to chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So that's what he did. He was a little boy, 5 years old, alone in the forest. He didn't have a cook with him. He didn't have even a place to live. He was just living in the forest. And he went through austerity, eating leaves that dropped from the tree, eating kapita fruit once every 3 days, then eating leaves that fell from the tree every 6th day. Then he took a little bit of water every 9th day. He went through great austerity, and he concentrated his mind upon Krishna because he had nothing else to do. Obviously, there was no internet. There was no Sunday feast. There was no distraction other than just focusing his mind upon Krishna and progressively becoming more and more absorbed in Krishna consciousness. It wasn't that he was thinking, now I'm only eating leaves. I wish there was more kapita fruit. This austerity is getting too much for me. I think I'll go home. No, he's determined to meet Krishna. At least he was determined to get his desires fulfilled. Similarly, Prahlad Maharaj, obviously he could have told his father, when his father asked him, what's the best thing you've learned in school? He could have said, instead of telling his father that you're a number one fool, he could have said, well, we talked about this and that in school, and I really liked when we talked about Kshatriyas, the different types of ways the Kshatriyas control the people. I thought it was really, he could have told his father that and had a perfectly normal life as a demon. Could have inherited the whole universe, practically speaking. But instead, he was determined to become Krishna conscious. And he didn't, because he was absorbed in Krishna consciousness, therefore he couldn't care less. Of course, he did care what his father thought, but he wanted to help his father. And therefore, without any fear, he told his father that you're a Surya Varina. You're the best of the Asuras. And my advice is, you're full of anxiety. Therefore, my advice, Tat sadhu manye Surya Varya Dehinam, Sada Suvigna Dhyama Satgraha. Because your intelligence has just been robbed by everything except for Krishna consciousness. Therefore, give up this anxiety. And what? Vanam kato yad daryayam. Just go, give up, get out of this ananda kupam, get out of this blind well of material life, and go to the forest and chant Hare Krishna. Therefore, he passed the test of Krishna's test, and Krishna came personally and saved him from his father, because he was fixed in Krishna consciousness. If we want to learn love, the way of learning love is not to surround yourself with loving people. And so if we want to actually practice loving, we have to surround ourselves with people who don't love. Well, of course we don't have to surround ourselves. But if we are in association with people who don't love us, then it forces us to actually bring out the maximum amount of love we can have. If we want to learn tolerance, if we're put into an intolerable situation, then it forces us to become tolerant. So develop good qualities, to develop the qualities necessary to become Krishna conscious. If we're put into the opposite situation, what we want to develop, it helps us develop those qualities. So the Bhagavatam is full of problems. If we don't think that we want to actually live a life of challenge, we want a nice, peaceful life, then we could have, if we would have been Arjuna, said, yes, thank you very much, Krishna. It sounds like a great philosophy. I'll buy the book later when it comes out. But for now, this is too much. I think I'm going to go to the forest and watch everything on the internet. No, he actually accepted Krishna, and he understood that the goal of life is to become conscious of Krishna. In order to do that, he had to please Krishna. He had to follow his instructions, no matter what the price would be. And therefore he followed his instructions, and Krishna gave him all blessings. So of course we can't necessarily pass the tests that are explained in the Bhagavatam. If we were put into a house of fire and then the house is set on fire and then we run out of the house and someone's there to eat us, we might have a nervous breakdown after some time because we're not prepared to face such great tests as they are. But we have our little tests during the day. Are we going to chant a certain number of rounds every day? Are we going to follow the four regular principles? Are we going to come to class? Are we going to eat prasadam and honor a prasadam? We have our little tests that we have to pass. And if we don't pass the test, if we eat too much, then we get a stomach ache, and then we learn that maybe tomorrow I'll try and pass the test. Be a little bit more careful. So we're giving these little tests, and what's the whole idea? Anta kale tamameva smran bhaktva kale ram yak priyate samadbhavam yati nasyatra samshaya. So at the time of death, that we'll have no other business other than remembering Krishna. The time of death is the biggest test. And we're just being prepared with little tests now, tolerance, so that we're being taught to tolerate so that at the time of death we'll actually be able to tolerate, so that we can remain fixed in Krishna consciousness and not having to come back and taking another birth again. In this verse, both blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. One should not only hear submissively from the spiritual master, but one must also get a clear understanding from him in submission, service, and inquiry. A bona fide spiritual master is by nature very kind to the disciple. Therefore, when the disciple is submissive and is always ready to render service, the reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries become perfect. Clear understanding means clearly we're Krishna's servant and we have no other business other than to please Krishna, in spite of whatever else is going on externally or especially internally. Maya will never say, my dear soul, you're such an advanced devotee, I surrender and I give up. No more problems, no more desires, no more pushings, no more mental speculation. I quit. Just go back to Krishna. You have all my blessings. Now Maya will say, you rascal, how dare you, I've been with you since time immemorial, now you're giving me up. You're surrendering to this Krishna and his devotees. You're a fool and rascal. I'm never going to stop bothering you. You better surrender to me or else you're going to have a bad day. Maya will not give up so easily. She'll try, yoga chalati manasa, she'll try and trick the practitioner by so many different allurements. So not everyone passes the test. Just like I mentioned, there was one devotee in Los Angeles. He inherited some money. He didn't know how much it was, but he went home and he found out he had, at that time, this was like 40 years ago, he inherited $25 million. So as soon as he found out he inherited $25 million, he sent back his japa beads, all the books, his dhotis, with a little message saying, I don't need this anymore. So he didn't pass the test. But luckily, most of us are not going to inherit $25 million, so we don't have to worry about that one. Okay. Kuala, any questions? Yes. Jagannath Sutta, bro.
What about how to approach a person who's doesn't care about any?
Fold our hands and say, oh, great soul. Oh, most learned person. How can, would you take this little bit of cookie from me? It's really delicious. Please accept it. And go on to the next person. Sometimes, depending on who it is and how enthusiastic we are, we can say, can you just say one thing? And they say, what is it? Hare Krishna. Maybe they'll repeat that. Anything else? Yes. Yeah, that's what it means. Tattva means, tat means that, and tva means the whole collection. So he sees everything perfectly. Now, if someone repeats something some instruction one who's seen everything perfectly, that's a perfect instruction. Prabhupada said a little child, he doesn't know what a pencil is, for instance. But he asks his father, Father, what is this? And his father says, it's a pencil. And then if someone else asks the child, what is it? He says, it's a pencil. Because he heard from the authority and he's repeating it, therefore his knowledge is perfect. But we have to make sure that we're repeating knowledge coming from a perfect person. It can't be just our own understanding, our own knowledge. Khala Granthara Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande.
Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Panchatattva, Jayo Panchatattva. Jayo Gauranitai, Jayo Gauranitai. Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Gaur Haribo. Gaur Prem, 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 Premanande, Hari Hari Haribo.
Jayam Vishnupad Paramhansa Brahmadakacharya Asadhara Satushi Shriman. His Divine Grace Shalasi Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Samstapakacharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhansa Brahmadakacharya Asadhara Satushi Shriman. His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantya Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Bhadraganath Shri Jeev Gopala Das Raghunath Shat Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Premajago Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranitananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudhi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopanath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govindam Ki Jai. Mathuradam Ki Jai, Vrindavadam Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Ayodhya Dham Ki Jai, ISKCON Ljubljana Ki Jai, Gangamai Ki Jai, Jamunamai Ki Jai, Srimati Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Srimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Sylvania Padiracha Mahotsava Ki Jai, Shri Panchatattva Ki Jai, Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande Haribo, Slava Zabrani Bhaktam, Slava Zabrani Bhaktam, Slava Zabrani Bhaktam, Slava Shri Guru Ishi Garanga.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahladananda Hiranyakashipur Vakshaha Shilatankanakalaye Ito Nrisimha Parato Nrisingo Yato Yato Yamitato Nrisimha Bahir Nrisingo Hridaya Nrisingo Narasimham Harim Sharanam Prapare Tava Kara Kamalavare Nakamadbhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagarisha Hare Jaya Jagarisha Hare Jaya Jagarisha Hare Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagarisha Hare Jaya Jagarisha Hare Jaya Jagarisha Hare. Bhakti Vigna Vinashana Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki.
Hare Krišna, nadaljujemo z obvestili, napovednikom, kar se bo dogajalo v bližnji prihodnosti oziroma v tem tednu. Najprej obvestilo, želeli bi vas spomniti, da jutri pride k nam na obisk zvečer in bo tudi do petka zvečer njegova svetost Bhakti Prahladananda Swami. To je Swami, ki je rojen v Belgiji, v Bruslju. V ISKCON je pristopil, k ISKCONu je pristopil 1992. leta in dobil iniciacijo, se pravi, postal je sanjas 2015, sanjaso pa je prijel od njegove svetosti Bhakti Čaru Swamija. Urnik njegovih predavanj bo na, se pravi, na WhatsApp skupini Krišna Info na forumu, ampak zagotovo bo predaval jutranja in večerna, bo imel jutranja in večerna predavanja, tako da dobrodošli in se pridružite. Potem pa bi rada povabila Mukunda Madhava Prabhuja, da nam pove, kako smo preživeli ta teden, kaj vse smo doživeli in pa če pove, kaj vse nas čaka v naslednjem tednu. Lepo prosim.
Hare Krishna, I agree with everything she said. Just joking. So I guess we're speaking something about Padayatra. We had the first week of Padayatra.
Zdaj je že za nami cel teden Padayatre.
Short week, only 5 days.
Kratkih 5 dni, čeprav so bili zanimivi.
So we visited Celje, Ljubljana, Koper, Velenje, and Bled. Okay, that you understood, you don't need translation. We also distributed some books. Devotees were very enthusiastic.
Podelili smo kar nekaj knjig, zelo smo fokusirani na Bhagavad Gito in jaz moram povedati, da tako da mečkam se trudim deliti knjige v decembru in da sem strašno preplašena, ko moram dati z rok Bhagavad Gito, ampak zdaj mi pa kar nekako gre, tako da se trudim vsak dan vsaj 3 podeliti in moram reči, da so ljudje tudi zelo dovzetni in odprti in sprejmejo knjige.
Yeah, we're distributing more Gitas than before. So until now we distributed 126 Bhagavad Gita, which is more than we did the whole Padayatra last year.
Ne rabimo prevoda, ne? Smo več podelili kot... Koliko? 126.
And a total of 760 books.
160 knjig.
Okay, so we have 2 more weeks, longer weeks, 6 days